Good morning, everyone. In this week's Torah portion, we have one of the most famous verses. Tzedek, tzedek tirdov. Justice, justice you shall pursue. And the question asked is, why does the verse say tzedek, justice, twice? Justice, justice you shall pursue. And obviously the simple answer is that it's for emphasis, that you should pursue justice with all of your strength and all of your determination. But of course, there's many, many deeper answers given to this question. But I thought of another answer, having been in Israel now for the past few days. You see, the word tzedek has two different definitions. One is justice. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdov. Justice, justice you shall pursue. But the word tzedek also means righteousness, as in the word tzedakah, which the root of the word of tzedakah is tzedek, righteousness, goodness. And perhaps the Torah is giving us a dual message. On the one hand, yes, we have to pursue justice. Those who do things that are wrong need to be dealt with in a just manner. And there needs to be consequences for their actions. But the Torah is giving us a deeper meaning, and that is that we also have to do justice for the victim, not only by exacting justice on the perpetrators of the crime, but also by doing righteousness to carry on their life and their legacy and their memory and their goodness. Don't just focus on the evil by bringing justice to those who committed it, but also on the good of the person, and make sure that their death is not in vain and that their life has continuity. And I thought of this after being here for the past few days in Israel. I've seen this countless times, that Israel as a society, of course the IDF, is waging a battle against the forces of evil of Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran, and bringing justice to the victims of October 7th and to protect all of their citizens from, God forbid, such a catastrophe ever occurring again. But I also saw time and again, in countless ways, the way Israel looks at those victims and says, how can we do righteousness in their memory, so that their lives may have been cut short physically, but spiritually their lives will continue to live on with each and every one of us. And to just give you three examples that I witnessed in the past 24 hours. This morning I continued to go to the Shiva homes of the 6 hostages. And I went to the home of the Shiva of Elmog Sirisu. Elmog was 27 years old. He and his girlfriend were at the festival. She was wounded. He stayed behind to try to treat her. And then she died of her wounds, and he was abducted. And he was one of the 6 hostages, Elmog, who were murdered by Hamas as the IDF were closing in on them to rescue them. And I sat with the father, Yigal, the father of Elmog. And he said after this tragedy, he asked himself, he asked God, how can I carry on? How can I live my life after what I just went through? How can I go forward? And then he remembered that his son was a person who lived with many dreams and aspirations. He dreamt of developing the Negev. He dreamt of building a school for special needs children. He was studying education, preparing to go into a role of helping teens at risk. And he had many, many other dreams in life. And he said, you know how I'm going to live? I'm going to live by fulfilling all of his dreams. We're going to do all the things that he couldn't do. And that's what it means, tzedek, tzedek, tirdov. Pursue justice by doing righteousness to carry on their lives. Second example of this I saw yesterday when I went to Otniel to meet the family of Elchanan Kalmanson. Elchanan and his brother Menachem rescued over 100 people from Kibbutz Be'eri. They left their home in Otniel, which is near Hebron, and went all the way down south to Kibbutz Be'eri and saved over 100 people. And tragically, Elchanan, 42 years old, was shot by a terrorist and killed, and he leaves behind a beautiful wife and 5 beautiful children. And I met Elchanan's parents as well, one of the early founders of Otniel. And they took me to his grave. He's buried in Otniel. He's the only victim of October 7th who has on his grave both the insignia of Tzahal, the IDF, and the Mossad, because he worked for the Mossad as well. And we prayed at his grave with his wife and his children and his parents. But then they said, let me show you what we're building in his memory. They took me to a hill in Otniel, and there's a brand new yeshuv that's being built in memory of Elchanan Kalmanson. And there's already over 10 trailer homes with families living there. And then on the peak of the hill, overlooking the beautiful views of Hebron all the way to Jerusalem, they're building a beautiful synagogue in memory of Elchanan. And this is not a little synagogue. It's over 5,000 square feet with 30-foot ceiling, beautiful big windows and views. And the synagogue is half built. And I said, when do you want to complete this by? And they said, for his yard site, which is Simchat Torah, we plan on dedicating the synagogue on Isru Chag, the day after Simchat Torah. That is what it means, Tzedek, Tzedek Tirdov. We will pursue the righteousness of their lives. He was a leader in the Otniel community. He built and developed it. And they will carry on his life's dream and mission of building at Otniel, something he couldn't do because his life was taken at the age of 42. But finally last night I got to celebrate a joyous wedding in Gush Etzion. One of our friends from the Afikim organization, Miriam, who's the director, her daughter got married, and I was privileged to be invited to the wedding. And it was the most beautiful wedding. But when the wedding began, under the chuppah, you know, it's a custom to mention grandparents who are deceased who are not there. And I've never been at a wedding where the bride and the groom are both soldiers of the IDF. And under the chuppah, even before they began the ceremony, they said, we're going to remember 3 of the Chatan's friends who died fighting since October 7th. And they mentioned 3 of his classmates who died, who were murdered, who were killed fighting in Gaza. And it was such an emotional chuppah as they began by remembering these brave, heroic young soldiers. And then, at the wedding reception, they gave out a beautiful Tfilat Haderach card, a card to say the prayer on your journey. And it's a beautiful picture of the 3 friends of the Chatan with their names, and their beautiful smiling pictures. And it's meant to be hung on your mirror as you drive, and you have to say the prayer for a safe journey. And on the one side is the prayer, and on the other side is the picture of the 3 soldiers with the passage that says, may God guard you going and coming for now and forever. And what they were saying was that these 3 brave men, like the Chatan himself, who just came out of Gaza a few months ago, these young boys in their early 20s fought and gave their lives to defend Israel. But their protection and their defense goes on. Take this picture home, hang it up on your mirror, say the prayer for a safe journey, and may their souls be your guardian angels to continue to protect you on your journey, because that is what they lived and what they died for. Tzedek, Tzedek Tirdov. Yes, we will pursue justice in the full measure against our enemies, but let us not forget to do Tzedek, righteousness, in their memory, to keep on living their lives the way they would have lived it, to carry on their mission, their life's purpose. And like this, they don't die. They live on with all of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. Have a wonderful day.